All right, and we are live here. Um, I do apologize because we are gonna have to go a little bit quicker than originally anticipated. Now the content I wanted to get in probably is gonna happen. We're only gonna do the offensive portion today. We'll come back maybe and try to get in the defensive portion at a later date. Jimmy will be right back. He just ran to grab something. Um, the reason is I actually have a League of Legends Clash tournament I have to do at 8 o'clock, so that's why I have to get off. But we're going to just talk about the offensive quarterbacks. And then we'll go right into the running backs, receivers, and the tight ends, and then we'll cancel it. We're looking at hope we want to be off. We have to be off in a half an hour, so probably about 7:45. Jimmy is going to give me kind of the 5 minutes to go, and then we'll wrap it up from there. So we're just going to jump right in here, Jimmy. We're going to talk some quarterbacks. Um, and the way we're going to talk about this is the quarterbacks, in my opinion, are going to once the first domino goes, and this will be all of them. Once the big domino goes, then all the dominoes will start falling. So we're going to start with the biggest name on here, Mr. Tom Brady. Actually, I want to throw out two names, Tom Brady and Drew Brees. And the reason I'm saying that is Drew Brees is probably the one exception, and I think you'll agree that isn't going to matter what Tom Brady does.
Agreed.
I mean, if Drew Brees doesn't end up back in New Orleans, I would be shocked.
Me too. I
Um,
think they'll do whatever they can to keep him.
yeah, I mean, we could make up teams where he's gonna go, but I think it'd be a waste of time. Um, I mean, if he was gonna go anywhere else, I don't know where Drew Brees would actually go.
Right. I don't see him going
Yeah,
anywhere. I think he's going to
yeah,
stay home in New
he's there.
Orleans.
In my opinion, he's there till he retires.
As far as Tom Brady, from a fan's perspective, because I like Tom Brady, I hope he stays with the Patriots. I want to see him right off into the sunset, like we discussed John Elway earlier, win another ring and retire as a Patriot. I don't like the whole idea of him possibly going to another team and then maybe 2 years later he signs a contract with the Patriots so he can retire as a
Right.
Patriot. I don't
See,
want to see that.
excuse me, and I agree with what you're saying. However, that's not what's gonna happen.
You think he
Tom
will?
Brady is not going to be a Patriot this year. I mean, I would be where I said I'd be shocked if Drew Brees is not a Saint. I'd be shocked if Tom Brady was a Patriot.
You don't think that organization is going to do what they can to keep him?
I I I I,
They win with him.
I think in a way the way Belichick is wired and the way Brady is wired, Belichick I think wants to do it without Brady. He wants to get someone that he's going to handpick now, his successor. He wants to prove it's not Brady. He wants to prove that it's his genius. He can put anyone in that spot and wins are going to happen. Brady, I think, is the point now. He wants to prove it's not the system in New England that made him good. He's just good, or he's that great, and he can go anywhere.
So you think these two are having ego clashes?
I that
You're not the only one I've heard that from.
right,
That's why.
I think because I used to always tell people as a joke, who's going to retire first, Brady or Belichick? And I thought they were both trying to see who would outlast the other. I mean, Belichick is almost 70.
Right. Right.
Uh, but anyways, back to so I personally think I've heard Tampa for Brady. I've heard the Chargers for Brady. I think he's going to go to Tennessee.
I've heard that too.
They're there. There are some weapons there. They resign Derrick Henry. He's got familiarity with Mike Vrabel, the coach. They obviously played together in New England. That's where I think Brady will go.
There's one other team that has been talked about, not as much as the other ones that you mentioned, but it brings us to number 3 on the list.
Dallas
Yes,
and Dak Prescott. Right now they're in negotiations to get re-signed. I don't see him getting franchised. I see him. They're going to work the contract out
yeah,
with
I
him.
don't see Dak leaving either.
Now, personally, what he wants, I don't know if he's. And I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying any player isn't worth what they think they're worth. But whatever the Dallas Cowboys are going to pay him might be too much. You know, I don't. He's not an elite quarterback. He's not a game manager. He's not a game changer. He definitely has to have players around him. He can't do it on his own. You take Elliott out of there, I don't see it. You take the line away, I don't see it.
Agreed. He does need the pieces, and there's another person later on we're going to talk about that I think they should keep
Well, I
because it
like
would
him as a
help. But
passer. I like him as a passer, but he's not someone that's gonna. He's not gonna blow you away with his arm. I mean, he's not gonna Aaron Rodgers it down the
no,
field.
but he is a Russell Wilson type to where he's smart enough to know when to not
Uh,
make a play. I
poor
think
man's Russell Wilson, but
he's athletic. He can
no,
run.
he's athletic. But I mean, to say he's Russell Wilson is a bit of a reach.
No, I don't mean he's Russell. I mean
I
he's
mean, Russell
in
Wilson,
the
I put in
category.
the
But
top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now.
top five?
Top 5. I don't want to get into all that because, like I said, we want to we want to cover this content. So, my opinion, Brady goes to the Titans. Would it shock me if he? I mean, I wouldn't. I shouldn't say. I shouldn't say it wouldn't shock me if he went back to England, because yes, the owner of New England absolutely loves Robert Kraft. Loves Tom Brady. Robert Kraft wants him to come back. I don't think the coach does. That's how I feel.
Hmm. I've like I said, I've heard that before from multiple people too. Has there anything been said though that's given, or is that just people's general
Well, the fact
perception?
that he sold his home.
No, no, no. I'm talking about, is that just a general perception of, well, Belichick wants to do it without Brady. Brady wants to do it without Belichick. Or has there been talks that there's things been said that like, oh, that this is the way they're feeling?
I look at the way these two are wired. Like I said, the way they think, and Belichick has no problem dumping a great legend to move on. He'll do that. I mean, he did it with, and I'm not comparing Bledsoe to Brady. I'm not
No, no,
saying that
no.
they're in that same level. I'm saying is early on, he did with Bledsoe. If you remember Lawyer Malloy was a top end safety in the NFL, and he just let him go.
Remember earlier in the earlier stream when you talked about trading high,
Mhm.
when you can get a high ticket for him. Belichick has no problem letting the player go when he's still at his peak
But he
a
wants to get
couple
him on
years
the cheap.
early.
He wants to get everything on the cheap as well.
Yeah.
Um, but we're sitting here talking Brady going to the Titans. That brings Ryan Tannehill in discussion. What happens to Tannehill because
I would
they
assume.
want to keep him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I look at it. If there's a way, there is a way they could probably get Brady and keep Tannehill at the same point, but Tannehill would have to be live with the fact he wouldn't be the starter. There's places Tannehill proved that he can play quarterback in this league and
He
can
did.
can function as a solid player. Miami was not obviously for him. I liked Tannehill in Miami, and I wish he would have stayed there. Just unfortunately, the system around him wasn't to his liking. Or I
And
mean, it
he
wasn't to his liking. It didn't serve his purpose. It did him a dissatisfaction. The offensive line was now actually the offensive line was better when he was there than it is probably right now, but it still wasn't like some top. I mean, it was a below average offensive line. Running back, what you had, Reggie Bush was there like when he was drafted as a rookie. And then you get, I mean, Kenyon Drake had moments, but he got hurt. Um,
Lamar Miller, who was supposed to be a guy there,
Lamar
he didn't.
Miller, well, Lamar Miller, that was his launching point to go to Houston. Receivers, he had Jarvis Landry. Devontae Parker at the time never worked out to what he was supposed to be, but he is turned around. Devontae Parker is actually going to be a good player in this league. So
Landry didn't either, though. Not with Miami.
no, Landry was a Pro Bowl player with Miami.
Because I
Absolutely.
had him on my team when he was with
Right, and
Miami.
a lot of people wanted him from you too. He was a great wide receiver. The problem is his numbers weren't what they probably should have been just because of a lot of what we're just talking about. Jarvis Landry is a 100 catch worthy wide receiver. In my opinion, I
Oh,
guess.
absolutely. What I'm saying is I remember having him when he was with Miami, and I don't remember him getting me the points that I thought he would get me.
Um,
Maybe I'm wrong. Go back and check the
but
stats. I don't
with
know.
Tannehill, other than Tennessee, I don't. The problem is I don't know where he would go because I guess the Colts would be a good fit for him. Actually, now that I think about it, because they have a solid offensive front. Their weak point, Marlon Mack's a good running back. He's not gonna steal the show. I mean, he can, but he has some injury issues. Obviously, the receiving core is, well, yeah, T.Y. Hilton. So it's definitely an above average, but I wouldn't call it the best receiving core. They're young. I mean, with the rest of the receivers, they're still young. Paris Campbell, I think, will end up being a good player in this league. He didn't have a very good start to it, but um, you know, if they were to keep Ebron at tight end, that might be a good fit actually for now that I'm really thinking about that might be a good fit for Tannehill. Which now talking the Colts, that's the big rumor is where Rivers is going to go.
So then, what about the Chargers possibly for Tannehill?
I well, they made the trade. Their offensive line does make me a little nervous. I mean, obviously they've locked up Eckler, so they're solid at running back.
Uh,
They're solid at
24 million
receiver.
for
They're
4 years.
franchise tagging Hunter Henry. So offensively, they're good. I know that would, you know what, that'd be a good fit for him too. Um, Dallas would be a good fit for him if they decide not to, if they can't get it done with Dak Prescott. He's from Texas.
Hometown.
He
Okay.
played at A&M. Um, and obviously stud offensive line, stud running back. Got to get the receiving core obviously figured out. I mean, Gallup's going to be great,
I
but
think
it's got to
so.
get
I
if
think
they can
so.
get Cooper signed is the big question mark. Um, and then the other name on here is Rivers. I could see him going to Dallas.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, if you all he needs is a couple if they can get those receivers re-signed. And I think Rivers as a quarterback, as a player, I don't want to say get it on the cheap, but he's going to be more willing if he goes to the right situation to go in probably with less money because he wants to at least get it. He doesn't want to be the second coming of Dan Marino.
Right. Right.
Um, Now the other big situation is going to be Tampa, and I've heard Tampa linked to Brady. I've heard Tampa linked to Rivers. Is Jameis Winston? I've heard Winston also linked to the Colts.
Hmm.
So what happened? And Winston, he, he he's worthy of being a starter. I think with a little more time under Aaron's, maybe he could develop into really what he should be. But the problem is he's been in this league now for so long. He's so far behind the curve that you know, do you really want to pay him that much? I mean, he
He's a
shouldn't get
great
top
fantasy
end
football
starter. He should
quarterback.
get, if he gets money, it's got to be bottom end money as far as starters. Or definitely paid more than any backup. But
Right on.
um, and then the quarterback that came in the same year as he did, drafted right before him, Mariota. He's obviously not going back to Tennessee.
I forgot about him.
You
My
know,
goodness.
but he's not going to be a starter wherever he goes. So he's got to do like Blake Bortles did last year. He's just got to deal with the fact he's going to have to be a backup wherever he goes, and then hope where he goes. I mean, I don't want to say obviously you don't hope that someone gets hurt, but hope that either A, you go to a team that's got a lesser quarterback situation. Um, for example, would be a good fit for him to go on a lesser. This is knocking my own guy, but seeing him go to um, Washington as a backup. But then you got Smith could be back next year. Alex Smith could be back next year.
I was gonna say with the top
Um,
six you got on the list, even if Bree stays, Prescott stays, Jameis I think is going like you said, he's just gonna be a backup somewhere. I don't
um,
think he goes anywhere and starts. Not right away at least.
and any one of these guys could end up in. I've heard Rivers to New England. One of these guys could end up in theoretically in New England. That's the big name. The name we're gonna say right now is Teddy Bridgewater, because that's the guy that he's gonna get a starting job somewhere. And wherever he goes, I believe he's going to do well. I've heard him linked to Chicago. Depending what they're going to do with the whole Trubisky situation. I've heard Bridgewater, I've heard him linked also to Miami.
You
Because that's a
surprised. I think you
situation,
surprised a lot of people last year when Breeze got hurt and Bridgewater came in.
um, and there's also the third Saint quarterback, Taysom Hill. I don't think he's going to be, I don't see it. I think he's Cordell Stewart but not as good of a quarterback, if that makes sense. I mean, he's doing everything Cordell Stewart did.
I don't even know who Taysom Hill is.
He's um he's the Saint. He's the like third string quarterback for the Saints. But he
Gotcha.
does like he comes in, he goes as a
Okay.
receiver. He
Yeah.
goes in as running back. He goes in as a kick and punt
Is it
returner.
number 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So and he wants to be a quarterback. He wants to actually be his actual natural position. And personally, from what I've seen, I'm not saying I'm not I don't see him practice. Obviously, I'm not seeing him practice every day what Sean Payton is saying, but I don't see him as someone that you're gonna put the whole boat on. You're not loading him with the ark. If that makes any sense.
So maybe if Bridgewater's gone,
I like
they
Bridgewater.
work out with Breeze, but they sign Hill to he's the backup. He's the number 2.
Brady will be a starter somewhere. Breeze will be a starter somewhere. Prescott will be a starter somewhere, if not Dallas. Rivers will start wherever he goes. I believe Bridgewater will start wherever he goes. Um, and Tannehill should. And then the rest of them should be, you know, lower end. Either they're going to be a starter there, but they're going to be going to a starting situation. Here's the interesting thought. What if Winston and Mariota end up on the same team? For them, that would actually probably be the best case scenario for them individually. If they end up in the same, because here you got two guys who were drafted back to back to each other, same draft, 1 and 2, and they're fighting for a starting job.
Yeah.
You know, they could push each other and make each other better. Um, like I said, I apologize that we're going to rush this. Any other thoughts on quarterbacks before we quick move on here?
No.
Um, like I said,
Wait
we
and
could have
see what
probably sat
happens.
here for an hour talk quarterbacks,
Yeah.
but
Wait and see what happens.
running backs again, like the quarterback domino. Look at Derrick Henry sets the market.
Dude, if they're smart, he will not go
I
anywhere.
don't see him going anywhere myself. Um, I think they're making a mistake if they don't. Especially, I mean, you resign him. If you want to try to get Brady, there's your carrot. You know,
They got all the way to the AFC Championship, though,
you know,
correct?
dang, what do they? What's he called? What do they call him? The mule, the
Who?
donkey. Brady, isn't he like the donkey or the mule or something?
Oh, I guess so.
Horses behind. Anyways, sorry, that got a little personal, the Ohio State Michigan thing. Um, oh yeah, I forgot. I like the Miami Dolphins. I hate the Patriots. Duh. Not really a Brady guy.
So what if he goes to the Dolphins?
Brady?
Yeah,
Go the Dolphins. Not gonna, why would he go the Dolphins?
I'm just saying, what if? He's got his choice. He can go anywhere he wants. You know that. He's probably not going to want to freeze his ass off like he has been for the past 20 some odd years. If he's on the back end, he might say, you know what?
Let me
F
ask you
that.
this. Let me
Going
ask you
somewhere.
this. If I offer you a baby blue 1980 Monza, are you gonna take it?
No.
I mean, it's my favorite team. I just call them a 1980 baby blue Chevy Monza. I had a friend that had one, by the way. Horrible car. Um, But no, Derrick Henry sets the market. And then your next two are the big guns. I think they're the ones. Well, Drake should resign. Drake, they should the Cardinals should resign
Yeah,
Kenyon Drake.
definitely.
He's a free agent. He's on this list. He'll get offers, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, they traded for him. They're gonna keep him, and they have a young nucleus there. He'd want to stay there. Here's the one.
Melvin Gordon should end up in Detroit. Just saying.
Melvin Gordon is going to be the one that really gets the most attention because he could end up anywhere.
Yep.
He's not going back to the Chargers. That's pretty much a defined
I
fact.
think Denver is looking at him and Derrick Henry, actually.
You know who's looking at Melvin Gordon? I guarantee you, very very hard, is Miami.
They don't have anybody right now, do they?
No.
Oh.
Another team that should look at Melvin Gordon is someone that should have probably traded for him last year when they had the opportunity. Was Houston. Melvin Gordon. Okay, this whole situation, honestly, whatever he wanted financially, he deserved. And I'm not a Melvin Gordon fan, but I'm gonna tell you this: Melvin Gordon is better than any running back on this list. Melvin Gordon is better than Derrick Henry.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Okay, take out 2019 doesn't happen. So we're going based on because they almost I think I don't remember what year Gordon came out. They're almost about the
Gordon's older.
not by much, maybe a year.
Right.
So they're almost the same. So
Gordon came out with Amir Abdullah, Todd Gurley.
right, and Henry was the next year.
Yes. I think, yeah.
But Melvin Gordon's done more in his career. If you and you remember last year, he sat out what half the year for a contract dispute.
I don't care if he played the whole year. He wouldn't have got to the AFC Championship.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're basing on who's a better player.
I think Derrick Henry's the better player. The guy's a beast.
Well, I mean, yeah,
He's huge
Henry's going to
inside.
run people
Pause.
over more than Gordon is, but
Exactly. Nobody wants to tackle him. That's, you know what I mean?
I see
I
Gordon.
don't
But
know. My opinion.
I believe Gordon's faster. I think Gordon gives you more versatility. And I'm not knocking Derrick Henry. I don't want anyone to think I'm knocking Derrick Henry at all. He's a great running back, and I would love to have him on the Dolphins. But if you were to say to me, you got to pick one of the two, I would pick Gordon.
Hmm.
Um, okay, now we're gonna go to and some of these guys, they're kind of declining. And so, unfortunately, this one, for example, I hate saying it, he's still young, and Jordan Howard. I mean, there's not going to be a big market for him. He'll end up somewhere, and he'll have a chance to possibly start, but you know,
Yeah.
he's not. He had the one big year really in Chicago,
Yeah. And what
and he's
happened?
kind of living off that one reputation. The
He had a
next
couple
one,
good games last year with Philly, didn't he?
yeah, no, he's had some. No, but I'm saying the one solid he had is that first year. It was a solid. First 2 years were solid in Chicago, and then they got that Tyreek Cohen that
Yep.
really hurt him.
Yep.
And then obviously they drafted Montgomery, so you knew what their feeling about Jordan Howard was. Next name on the list is definitely at the tail end of his career, unfortunately, Lamar Miller. He'll end up somewhere as long as he's good to go,
I
which
think
he
he
should
spent more
be,
time injured.
right? But he'll end up somewhere as a backup. I mean, he's not going to be probably even competing for a starting job. He'll be a more spot duty, fill in, change the pace back. Here's an interesting one: is Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. You don't think Cleveland's going to resign him?
um, I think they're good to go with what they got. I think you put the
Yeah.
money in other places. Because now he's not going to take a minimum contract now. He's going to want more money now.
He's definitely somebody that can go somewhere and start,
All
though.
right, he could end up in a lot of places, but his reputation is also a scare off.
I know, man. That's just way too bad
Yep.
because he's a talented back for sure.
Matt Breida I mean, he was in the carousel with the Niners.
Yep. San
And
Francisco.
he's a solid running back too. He'll end up somewhere. Trying to think of it, Buffalo. I could see him being a change of pace back for Buffalo because he's a little bit.
Singletary. Yeah.
Yep. Frank Gore will end up somewhere. I've actually heard Gore linked to the Niners to just finally end his career there. And he's got an actually case for the Hall of Fame. Frank Gore does. Which
He's the oldest back, ain't he?
he's by far the oldest back, yeah. And then we'll close this out. We got Peyton Barber. I mean, now we're talking guys that aren't going to be starting, but Peyton Barber did some starting with Tampa. Um, I mean, it's Tampa. They didn't exactly have a solid running core. Carlos Hyde, he can get it done. But he's not the guy. He's not at the point anymore where he can just grind it out and feed him the ball about 30 times.
Right.
And Deion Lewis just got released from Tennessee, and someone will sign him for sure. He's one that could go back to New England. The way they are there is like, well, we'll take you back. We'll give you a cheap contract, and we'll take you back for a year, and you earn your reputation
Oh,
back, and then in 2021 maybe you can get a bigger contract somewhere. I said I'm rushing through this a lot faster.
yeah, we got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Now we're gonna go receivers. The top two names set the market. Amari Cooper, AJ Green.
I think if you're Dallas, you keep Amari Cooper.
Oh, you want to keep Cooper, but I've also heard Philadelphia is going to make moves to try to get him, which I understand why they would want to because it hurts your division rival. and gives you more depth at a position that you go through them because they get hurt so much, like
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
Um, but I could see Cooper and Wentz having a great connection. Um, AJ Green, he's one that I wouldn't be surprised if he still is a Bengal, but I wouldn't be shocked if he wasn't. I think they want to keep him. Cincinnati also doesn't like shelling out the money. However, when you have the first overall pick coming with the notoriety that Joe Burrow was bringing,
Yeah.
you need the go-to guy. And I mean, personally, actually, Green is better than Cooper. Green actually is the better of all these receivers, but injury and age, that plays a factor.
So where does he go if he doesn't stay?
I don't know where he goes. I mean,
You see him in Green Bay?
wow, that'd be scary. Um, Actually, I'm gonna put this Dallas.
And they keep Cooper? So you got them two with Gallup.
Well, one of them would have to be willing to take less money. They can't afford them both. One would have to be willing to take less money. So Green would have to say Cooper's younger, so Cooper should get more money. So Green's gonna have to say, well, I want the chance. They have a solid team. You know that would make sense. However, it's more likely if Cooper goes that Green goes there. I don't know if they get them both from a financial standpoint because Green's going to want money
Right.
and deservedly so. Robbie Anderson, the Jets should try to keep him. I mean, he's not a stud or anything, but he's definitely a very, very solid starting wide receiver in the league.
Yep.
Um, there'll be teams after him. Emmanuel Sanders, I've heard the Niners do want to keep him. Um, he's one that I'm going to throw this out there. I haven't even heard this. I just coming up with it. What if he goes back to Pittsburgh where he started?
That'd be
Pair
interesting.
him with James Washington and Juju, and you put him in the slot and just let him get all the catches, and the other two are the deep threats down the field.
I guess I
And
don't understand why he gets passed around so much. Like he's a good receiver, man. Like
oh,
I was shocked when
he's a
Denver let
100
him
catch
go
receiver. I mean, he's Randall Cobb next
back
on
in
our
his
list.
career. Yeah.
Um, he'll be somewhere if he starts. I don't know at this point. He does get hurt a lot. I've never looked at him as kind of like a stud or anything. Or I think the other four guys I've mentioned above him are definitely better than he
Oh,
is.
absolutely. I think Cobb's best years are
Cobb
behind him,
would
obviously.
also again be more of a slot at this point. Return. Just a couple more. I do apologize. Let's move to the tight ends. I mean, there's more guys I could talk about, but that was the top end. Tight end wise, there's really, I'm gonna say on here, there's one, two, three. There's five. Um, Austin Hooper is gonna set the market. Um, Hunter Henry could have set the market, but he just got
He's
franchise
tagged.
tagged,
Yep.
so and deservedly so. They need to pay him. In my opinion, when healthy, he is the best receiver on this list by far. The problem is he doesn't stay healthy. Austin Hooper does, and Austin Hooper's a solid tight end. Eric Ebron, I think in the right situation, he did well 2 years ago because he had luck. He didn't have a good year this past year because the quarterback situation is, Brissett is like a fill-in quarterback. He's not the guy.
Right. Right.
He's not someone you're going to build your franchise around and expect you to carry the torch. But if Eric Ebron was if they were either to bring in a Philip Rivers or who else
Yeah.
do
So
we
they
say
improved the QB
or
situation.
Bridgewater or whatever.
Do they keep him?
Yeah,
You know.
I would keep him. I'd keep Ebron then. I think give him a chance. But he'll end up somewhere and he'll start wherever he goes. And then I want to talk about a guy two that just got released. Jimmy Graham just got released. I've heard him linked to going back to New Orleans, which really puts in a mix. You get him, you get Brees to re-sign with Michael Thomas.
That was Breeze's guy when he was there,
Yeah,
man.
oh definitely. He definitely hasn't flourished like he did in other places. Next, another guy that just got released from Tennessee. Now he's had some injury issues as well, but
Oh,
Delaney
big time.
Walker, when healthy, Delaney Walker. I mean, in our fantasy league alone, he could put up a lot of points in our
Yeah.
fantasy league.
Yeah.
when he's healthy. Excuse me. And I see him going someplace. Now, here's a thought. What if he was to go to? I could see him going to New England. I,
Delaney Walker?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because they could get him on the cheap. He's a proven veteran, and if he stays healthy, he's going to produce. Um, we got Vance McDonald here. He's had some solid games for Pittsburgh. You know, but also all these guys. Jimmy Graham would be a good fit in Pittsburgh, I think.
I was
Um,
kind of thinking that about
Ebron would
New
be a
England.
great fit in Pittsburgh. Now that I'm looking at it, Hooper would be a great fit in Pittsburgh. Now that I'm looking at it. Um, there's one more name I'm gonna throw in here before we go. Again, we apologize for how short we're making this. I have that tournament. The problem is we went long in our first part, and that wasn't anticipated. We weren't going to go an hour and 40 minutes, and we apologize for the length of it. But we got rolling. There was a lot of content. We hope you find some of it useful. As we hope you find this useful, as brief as unfortunately as it is. But Rob Gronkowski, he's supposedly he signed with WWE, but just because he does that doesn't mean he can't still go back to New England. Now, I drafted him in our draft last year, and I drafted him for a reason. And I didn't draft him. Oh, I drafted him with the thought that maybe he would come back during the end of last year, and I would have had him for the playoffs essentially. Um, but I kept on to him because of the thought. Well, what if he comes back for this year? I could keep him, or I could definitely trade him. And I have, trust me, there are people that have said they would trade me for him. So
He's is he 2 years or 1 year removed?
one. Let
Well,
me put it to you this way: Brady goes to Tennessee. Oh, it's the only thing I don't know about that. I'd have to look at it in the specifics, and I thought about it. I'm
I
not.
was just gonna say that Brady
I
leaves, but
think
Belichick
I
wins,
think Gronkowski has to go back to England now that I
or
think
the
about it.
Patriots bring him back.
Um, but we actually do got to get going. Like I said, I do apologize, and we're gonna set up a April, mid-April um, draft stream where we'll do this. But we'll do is, unless the only thing we would cover beforehand would be if there was any further trading in our league. That's the only thing I would cover beforehand. I don't see anything else other than maybe, you know what? I take that back. We could maybe do a free agency recap at that time as well.
Okay.
But the main point of it would be to do a rookie draft stream, and it would be primarily offensive rookies. So with that, um, Elbow, I want to thank Jimmy Chase here, member of the Douchebags, um, charter
Owner.
member of the league, and one of my division rivals. So hopefully we'll have maybe Mark Thompson will join us, or who knows? Who knows? Will be here right here with the fantasy commissioner. So with that, we're gonna end the stream.
Signing out.
Thank you for your time.